Brooklyn City Council to order. Mary Jo, if you could do the roll call, please.
Kevin Tansky.
Here.
Andy Selhertz.
Here.
Katie Gallagher.
Here.
Tony DeMarco.
Here.
Ron Van Kirk.
He's absent tonight, excused.
Kathy Pucci. Here. Mary Bellbeer.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a special guest tonight. I'm going to invite our school board president, Rick Singer, up to introduce our new superintendent. Mr. Glykoff, if you want to come up too.
Hello. Mr. Mayor, City Council President Gallagher, City Council. I'm very excited to announce that we have hired a new superintendent. Mark Lykoff comes to us from ways of Cuyahoga Falls. He was a deputy superintendent there, but you may recognize him. So for some of you younger folks, we may even had him in one of his English classes here in Brooklyn. Mark taught here in Brooklyn, was a middle school principal here in Brooklyn. We had 40 candidates that came to us from various positions for the superintendent job. We whittled it down to 6 candidates, and Mark shone above the rest. Did a great job with the stakeholder meeting, which some of you participated in. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mark if he'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. Good evening, folks. It's great to be back. I see some familiar faces around, and it's great to be back in Brooklyn. As Rick said, I spent 9 years here, 1991 to 2000, middle school principal, but also taught in the middle school and in the high school. And feels like I'm coming home a bit. So it's great because, as I told the staff as I met with them this morning, there's a lot of good things that are happening within the Brooklyn City Schools and also across the city of Brooklyn. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that as we continue the great traditions in our Brooklyn. So I want to thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to speak, and I look forward to working together. So thanks.
Sure.
As your school board president too, one of my duties is to talk to the community about what's happening on May 5th. We need your vote for the renewal levy. Very important that not only do we have a new school, but we have a way to staff the school with our teachers and making sure that our children are well educated. So please come out Tuesday, May 5th. I know it's not a big election or a polling time, but your vote is very critical. And every single vote counts when it comes to the renewal levy. And I'd like to segue from that to congratulate Mayor Bellbeer in your retirement. I hope your hook is always baited with some good bait fish. And you changed that terminology from fishing to catching.
Very good.
Thank you for all your years of service, Mr. Mayor.
On behalf of City Council, thank you, Mr. Glykoff, for coming tonight. I hope it's the start of a good working relationship with the city. We're excited to have you. I know one of my colleagues, Ron Van Kirk, took part in the last interview process with the final 2 candidates, and he was so impressed with both of you. And he said that he couldn't go wrong with either of the 2 candidates, but he especially had nothing but great things to say about you and the entire process for the school board. So thank you for coming tonight. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes from January 5th, 2015.
Motion to approve.
Second.
To approve, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci. Yes. Mary Bellbeer.
Yes. Okay. On the agenda tonight, City Council has mostly repeated items and a couple new matters. In front of us is a new change order for the handicap ramp outside of City Hall. The service director is requesting additional $3,920 for the contract to install extensions on the railing post to meet specifications for the project. The new contract amount is $53,875, which is actually $71,000 less than the original amount allocated. We have a bid approval for the installation of the fire alarm system at the service garage. 7 bids were received, and the lowest and best bid was $18,542 from Paladine. This company recommended the installation of additional notification devices, and after the service director spoke to Fire Chief Zemek, he's recommended adding these devices for an additional $2,494, which leaves the total project cost at $21,036. Overall, the project came in $4,000 less than originally allocated in the budget. Council has a bid approval in front of us for the 2015 CAP construction project for the landfill closure. The city received 5 bids, and civil and environmental consultants reviewed the 3 lowest bids for technical merit, schedule, project experiences, and bid items. CEC recommended Independence Excavating, which can provide recompacted soil burial material at the lowest unit cost, which will have a significant impact on the total project costs. Right now, the cost will be $1,658,235, which CEC believes that will be lowered. And as for legislation tonight, we have an ordinance establishing the City of Parma rates for the Recreation Center. This will be on emergency. I'm going to read this once again. This includes general admission for between $3.50 and $6, identification cards for $5, annual passes between $125 and $335, monthly passes between $40 and $80, swimming lessons between $47.50 and $75, swim team $67.50 to $100, learn to skate $32.50 to $55, and skate rentals $2. On second reading is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a 3-year agreement beginning August 1st, 2015, establishing consolidated communication centers in Parma. Brooklyn would pay Parma a total of $212,000 for the first year, and subsequent years will be determined each year. Costs can change with a 90-day notice from Parma and an agreement to pay 15% of all non-emergency capital costs with 90-day notice. An ordinance redefining recyclable materials, container requirements, and placement of bids. We have an ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of $413,504 in bond anticipation notes for city building improvements and parking. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of $466,496 in bond anticipation notes for street repairs. An ordinance providing for a pay of certain non-bargaining employees in the Department of Public Safety. This would increase the top hourly range for animal control officer to 18 per ordinance 2008-57, auxiliary police officers to 1309, school guards to 1309, part-time jailers to 1850, and special police officers to 1629. There will be changes to this ordinance because we're going to try to get all of the non-bargaining onto one ordinance for the next meeting. Lastly, we have an ordinance to authorize the purchase and installation of ancillary equipment to the Pierce 1500 GPM custom rescue pumper. The total cost is $67,679.30. This will be on emergency tonight. Okay, we're moving on to public session. If anyone who has anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn, please step forward, state your name, address, including the city, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less.
Good evening. My name's Lou Changari. I live at 8972 Trail Run Drive. Most of you know me as one of the school guards at the corner of Bidoff and Ridge. Now, almost everyone here thinks that here comes Lou again to rant and complain. I'm not lying. It was my attempt to do just that. But because clearer heads prevail, my wife and my 2 kids talked to me today, and they said, and I quote, "Hey Dad, look at the bright side. You're getting a raise, hang in there." But also, through your efforts, by attending the various committees, you made these committees and council aware that the school guards and various non-bargaining employees haven't had a raise in years. And I would like to read from the community news or the Brooklyn Brief that our council president puts out. There's an ordinance, was last meeting tonight, and there's another one in next one, right? The ordinance providing for pay of certain non-bargaining employees. This would increase the top of the hourly wage of the animal control officer, the auxiliary police officers, school guards, part-time jailers, and special police officers. So they're going to get their wages raised too. And then I also noticed that the mayor also told the council that he gave 5 points to 6 pay increases to police chief, fire chief, recreation manager, law director, general foreman, mayor, secretary, prosecutor, and all the other people in the office. I gotta get to the end. After these, from what I understand, after the next meeting and you read that ordinance, these will be the pay scales for all these positions, correct? I'm also quoting from my Life in Kids. Dad, you should feel pretty good because you helped a lot of Brooklyn people get a raise too, so don't feel adamant, but be glad and smile a little bit, which I am doing. I have one other thing I'd like to say about the school renewal. There were some implications from different people that if you voted down this renewal, you would lose your homestead exemption. Now, I talked to Mr. Jack Narus, who is the area representative to the Ohio State Board of Education about that, and what he said was that when they brought this new rule in about losing the state tax exemption, that all tax exemptions which are now on the books will receive that exemption. Now what happens, and I bring this one up, if this levy fails and they bring it up, the school board should bring it up in November, it then becomes a new levy which then will exempt this one levy from the homestead exemption we received. Just the one, not all of them. So if this gets turned down and they put it back on, that's considered a new levy. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Lou. Does anyone else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn?
Good evening, excuse me, good evening, everyone. Victor Ardito, 7439 Outlook Avenue. Those are a couple points that affect everyone. Several years ago, I'm thinking probably about 5 or 8 years ago, the state of Ohio changed for building a garage. Anything over 20 by 20 has to have a full 3-foot footer. And it's become very expensive. I found this out because I was helping a friend build a garage. And she went to the city and everything, and bingo, the price jumped considerably because of the amount of concrete for a footer. She wanted a 24 by 24 garage, which she did go for. And luckily I had a larger garage built years ago, and thankfully I didn't need a full footer, but I do have quite a large footer. My other thought on this is there any way, I don't think it's allowed in many cities, are we allowed to build pole barns, or can that be adjusted to build pole barns in the city of Brooklyn? But if you know anyone who has a 20 by 20 foot garage, not much fits in it if you have 2 cars, and if the car is larger than a medium-sized car. And many places do have pole barns, and they do last. My other thought is over this, many of the government, many of the politicians are passing a lot of these laws. They don't think about what it affects the average person. The other one I mentioned this before is the gasoline they're pushing down us. Right now it's 10%, they want to go to 15. And if you have any motorcycles, small equipment, generator, lawnmower, snow blower, the gas is not recommended in them. if they do, the manufacturers are telling you to put something in there as a stable or a seafoam. Seafoam was highly recommended. So, pass this along to the politicians that are doing this. You have to put a full foot or you build a house. And I don't know, maybe the building inspector knows this. My neighbor's trying to build a garage, getting prices. And this year, somebody said something about another additional footer besides the ones going around the outside. Do you know anything? Okay, thank you.
Haley Torek, 7515 Glencoe, and I'm here tonight to invite everybody to the Bike Rodeo and Touch a Truck. This event is sponsored by the City of Brooklyn as well as the Safe Routes to School. The event is being held at Ridge Park Square on Saturday, May 9th from 9 to 11 in the morning. Children are asked to bring their bicycles and their helmets. If they don't have one, there will be some available to borrow the day of the event. There is a bicycle skills course. You can register your bicycle through the Brooklyn Police Department. We also are going to have several service vehicles where the children will be able to climb in and out of the vehicles. Balloons by Magic Mike. We also have a fender blender, which is a smoothie maker where the kids get to pedal their way to a taste of a smoothie. Prizes, giveaways, bikes, and much more. So please attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Is there anyone else?
I'm Betty Ann Jaguar, 4169 Dawncliff. I'm here to state a very big frustration I have. We seriously need to get some police officers on our side streets before one of our children are killed. I have a car that insists on going from 0 to at least 40 down a side street to hit a red light. Something seriously needs to get done. Thank you.
You said, before you leave, you said that's around like 6 a.m., right?
6:30 every morning promptly.
That helps. So, our chief will be on it. Does anyone else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn? Okay, we'll now move on to reports of committees, commissions, and boards. First up is Finance Committee and Economic Development, Councilwoman Pucci.
Thank you. Good evening. The Finance Committee met earlier this evening at 6:15. We started a little bit early to accommodate hearing a presentation on the Regional Dispatch Center by Sherry Collins from the City of Parma. And the Finance Committee voted to approve the following, and because some of this information has already been read into the record, I'm going to try and streamline it. The change order request for the handicap ramp, the bid approval for Independence Excavating for the cap on the landfill, the fire alarm system at the garage, and then we did vote to recommend passing by emergency measure this evening the rates establishing community partner rates for the City of Parma, and that's because we have a deadline for our brochure. The Consolidated Dispatch Center legislation, which is number 26, did have a few little tweaks and changes to the contract. And regarding the ordinances on our notes that we're going to be issuing, Mr. Enovich reported that the team is going to be meeting with KeyBank to establish the schedule for the notes. Ordinance 2015-31, which deals with the compensation for non-bargaining unit employees, will be amended for the next meeting. And we did also recommend that we pass ordinance 2015-32, which is the ancillary equipment for our new fire engine by emergency measure this evening. That completes my report for the Finance Committee. Next, I'll move on to Economic Development. The committee met on Wednesday, April 15th. It was a combination of a meeting and a work session. During the meeting part, we addressed the potential buyer for the Hugo Boss facility that is scheduled to close. There had previously been a package that had been presented to this potential buyer that involved incentives from the city of Brooklyn, Cuyahoga County, and the state of Ohio. The initial offering was rejected, as were the offerings of the county and the state. So everybody went back to the drawing board and increased their offers basically to the maximum that each entity could. We learned today that the company has withdrawn their offer based on the fact that the public entities were not able to come up with the figure that they needed to make the deal work. Several weeks ago, there was a press conference that was held that announced the sale and that all these jobs were saved. There were some members of the committee who were very concerned that this was premature because we knew that the deal had not been finalized yet, that the potential buyer was going through their due diligence period. Basically, they want more than the public entities can provide. At this point, we're not sure what they were going to do. There was another potential buyer who was in the mix early on. Hopefully someone from Hugo Boss or Senator Brown's office will be in contact with them to see if they are still interested. I feel very badly for these employees though, because I feel like they've been on a roller coaster, first hearing their jobs are going to be eliminated, then with a press conference with a lot of fanfare that their jobs are saved, and now it appears that it's not going to work out. After that portion of the meeting, we went on to have a work session on TIFs, which is tax increment financing. Our municipal advisor, Mr. Mance Stasinski, gave a very informative presentation. I had already had a pretty good understanding of TIFs, however, Mr. Stasinski really went into the finer points and details of all the possibilities. We actually ran out of time to address another item, which was our economic development policies, so we have scheduled another work session for this Wednesday, April 29th at 9:30 a.m. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Next up is Recreation Board, Councilman Tansky.
Thank you. Anyone wishes to participate in the Memorial Day Parade, please call the Rec Center, 216-351-5334. 2015 Summer Learn to Skate Sessions will be held on Mondays and Tuesdays beginning on June 8th and will run through July 28th. Resident ID card holder, $35. Non-resident, $50. Carmel Heights Partnership, $42. For a complete list of class times and to register for any of the Learn to Skate sessions, please contact the John Coyne Recreation Center during regular business hours after May 1st. The Brooklyn Summer Camp 2015 will be held at its new location at St. Thomas More, 4170 North Amber Drive, behind the Brooklyn Rec Center. Summer camp will be held June 15th through July 24th, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. Camp will not be held on Friday, July 3rd. Summer camp is for 5 and 6-year-olds, 7 and 8-year-olds, 9 and 10-year-olds, and 11 and 12-year-olds. Students must be 5 years of age to participate. Birth certificate is required upon registration. Registration for summer camp will begin on April 27th through May 26th. Please be advised that if you register after May 26th, your child will not be able to receive a Camp Brooklyn t-shirt. Registrations will still be accepted after May 26th until June 14th. However, discounts will not be given for late registrations. Brooklyn resident fee, $265. St. Thomas More Heritage Christian School, Carmel Heights, and corporate fee, $335. Pricing includes a Camp Brooklyn t-shirt for each camper. Pricing does not include field trips. These are optional. Pricing does not include daily lunch. Summer camp offers games, arts and crafts, annual picnic, 4th of July pool party, sports, talent show, and whole camp field trips that are age appropriate. Children will use the rec center pool twice a week for swimming. The 5 and 6-year-old group will receive lessons by a certified lifeguard. For more information, please contact Camp Brooklyn directors Susie Gantos and Amanda Calvert. The next Recreation Board meeting will be held on Monday, May 18th in the Rec Center meeting room at 7 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Next up is the legislative update. Councilwoman Balbier.
Thank you. Right now in Ohio, When a child in foster care reaches 18 years old, he or she is considered an adult, and protective services, in effect, cuts them loose. Youths who leave foster care at 18 with little or no support often suffer terrible consequences. Left to fend for themselves, 1 in 4 in Ohio experiences homelessness by age 19. 1/3 will be incarcerated. Half fail to complete high school or earn a GED. And many end up pregnant or fathering a child. In Ohio, 1,000 foster youths age out of the system every year, and all are at risk. Fortunately, Ohio is now on the cusp of creating a law that would begin to serve these youths by extending the age out from 18 to 21. House Bill 50 is currently in committee. If eventually passed, not only will they no longer have to leave care at 18, but they have the option of coming back into care if they elect to leave at 18 but suffer one of the outcomes previously mentioned. Federal funding is available to help if any of the 5 criteria is met. They are completing their secondary education, enrolling in a post-secondary or vocational educational institution, participating in a program designed to remove barriers to employment, being employed for at least 80 hours a month, or being incapable of doing any of these activities due to a medical condition. 26 states already have similar legislation, and it's time now that Ohio does also. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Bellbeer. Board of Zoning Appeals, Building Commissioner Colstar.
Thank you, Council President. The Board of Zoning Appeals met on Thursday, April 16th to hear a request from David Rapp for a 128 square foot variance to construct a 576 square foot garage located at 8612 Ansonia. That variance was approved, and along with that, the board approved an 18-inch side yard setback, so if the owner so choose, he could maintain the side of the garage in the same location as it currently is. Thank you. That concludes my report.
The Planning Commission will meet Thursday, May 7th at 6 p.m. in the Brooklyn City Hall Conference Room. We will hear a request from Brilliant Electric Sign Company to install pole-mounted, non-illuminated signage to replace the smaller sign for business identification of Petro Choice Lubrication Solutions located at 8500 Clinton Road. A request from LS Architects for exterior building finishes, patio and driveway at the entrance of Ridge Manor Party Center located at 4630 Ridge Road. A request from AMZ Enterprises LLC for a parking lot design for additional parking for retail business use behind non-conforming single-family dwellings on lots consolidated per docket 09-2013-03 located at 8459 Memphis Avenue. That's permanent parcel 432-24001. To hear a request from Jessica M. Cliff to install wall-mounted signage for business identification of the U.S. Shuai Chow Feng Hu Academy located at 6775 Memphis Avenue. Old business includes a request from Tobacco and Vapor Unlimited to install business identification signs which exceed the maximum allowable area, section 1129.03H2, located at 4334 Ridge Road. This was deferred from the April 2nd Planning Commission meeting. We also will discuss the lack of exterior site completion at 8707 Memphis Avenue as approved at the Planning Commission meeting of October 6, 2011. And any other business that may come before the Planning Commission. Additionally, the Domestic Abuse Commission will meet May 18th at 6 p.m. We'll hear from Sergeant Cindy Eschweiler on the domestic violence calls that happen in our city and their process. Also, we will hear from Jill Similak from the new Family Justice Center, who will come speak about the Family Justice Center and how the Domestic Abuse Commission can pass out the word to our community. Next up, we'll hear from School Board Liaison, Councilman Selhertz.
Thank you. First, I'm going to do a quick announcement on Public Works. This past Friday, we did a walkthrough on Outlook, which was repaved last year. When we did the walkthrough, it's the first time after construction was completed and the weather's broken. Present were the service director, Mr. Verba, Mr. Courtney, our engineer, a representative from Roniak Paving, Mr. Tansky, councilperson, myself. Within the next week or 2 weeks, landscaping on the tree lawn should begin and be completed. What other construction issues were noted with the contractor, and they will be addressed in due time. So that process is ongoing and will be completed properly. For the school report, will your child be 5 by September 30th? A quick reminder once again, if so, it's time to register for kindergarten. You can contact the school through their website or call 216-485-8112. On Monday, April 20th, the Board of Education held a special meeting in the Treasurer's Conference Room. The board went into executive session. On Tuesday, April 21st, the Board of Education held its regular monthly meeting in room 173. Mr. Mark Tansky, the middle school principal, mentioned that the middle school was a Channel 8 cool school as seen on March 26th on Channel 8. As stated in the story, Brooklyn Middle School is being recognized as a Fox 8 cool school. It dates back to 1922 and is in the process of becoming a new school. The $26 million project was approved by the voters of Brooklyn. When the new school opens in the fall, the enrollment will double. At Brooklyn Middle School, visual and performing arts take center stage. 65% of the students are in the band. They can say they have performed on the same stage as Elvis, who was back here in 1955. Some students have won local and state awards for their artwork. Some pieces are also featured on work and display at the Western Reserve Art Building and have been selected to go to Columbus for Youth Art Month. Mrs. Yerman had several students show their artwork which have received awards. The art teacher, Joanne Becker, also had several students present their accomplishments to the audience in attendance. To see some of the work that has been done by the students, you can go to our website, and it is called Artsonia, ARTSONIA.com. And on there you can view what is being created by the students. It's a website that has artwork from across from this country and 164 additional countries. If you put in our zip code on their homepage, you can see what some of the works that have been done by the students. It's quite amazing. Another presentation that evening was done to acknowledge the Special Olympics program at Brooklyn schools. 100 bowlers from 10 schools participated. Out of the 13 bowlers from Brooklyn, 10 medaled, with 4 students receiving gold. Marty Farian, former school treasurer, now owner representative for the building project, mentioned that the building is 64.45% complete. Masonry is complete. One of the next big dates is June 1st, when the middle school is scheduled to move out of the old building and move into the new one. The project is still on time and on budget. School board member James Oper reported that the culinary team from Polaris placed first in state competition and third in national competitions. The Board of Education also recognized honor and merit rolls for the third quarter students in grades 5 through 12. On Thursday, April 23rd, the Board of Education held another special meeting in the Treasurer's Conference Room. The board went into executive session. This morning, the board also held an open meeting at 6:30 a.m. this morning. If you've met the new superintendent. For the remaining agenda items discussed and voted upon, please go to the school system's website and click on the Board of Education tab and then on the Board Docs tab. Upcoming events, the Brooklyn Middle School will be open for a tour yet on Wednesday, April 29th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Special Olympics program that I mentioned earlier is operating through donations. It will be holding a fundraiser at Buffalo Wild Wings on May 6th from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Students will be there with vouchers, so that a percentage of your purchases can go towards this program. 20% of your tab can go through as a donation. Special Olympics is also selling a statewide raffle. They're participating with it with a grand prize of $50,000. Tickets are $5 each and available at the board office, and will be also available at the BW3 fundraiser. As Haley mentioned, also the bike rodeo and Touch a Truck is coming up on Saturday, May 9th from 9 to 11. Next board meeting is Tuesday, May 19th in room 173 at the high school at 6 p.m. Public is welcome and encouraged to attend as your school system for your children. That concludes my report.
Okay, we'll move on to reports of council. First up tonight is Kevin Jansky.
Thank you. Just a reminder that Youth Opportunities is currently accepting applications for the summer program. If you have any questions or would like to register, go to www.youthopportunities.org. Information is also available at City Hall, Rec Center, and Brooklyn High School. Registration closes Friday, May 1st at 5 p.m. I just want to congratulate Mark Lakoff on your new position as superintendent. Outlook Drive had some issues on the paving of the street. I want to thank John Verba, Andy Selhertz, our engineer, and also a representative from the construction company for taking the time and coming out to assess the problems of the pavement that was done. And that concludes my report.
Next up, Andy Sellers.
Thank you. Just two things. May 5th, as you heard, is the school levy. Please go out and vote for it. It is a renewal levy. It's not new taxes. It's just passing a levy, hopefully passing a levy that was been passed originally in 1984, 1990, 1995, 2000, 2005, and most recently in 2010. As Lou mentioned, with the homestead, we get to keep it as long as we pass it. It pays for 11% of the operating expenses for the schools. It is an important issue. Please go out and vote for it. It is a no new taxes levy. Other item, in the back of City Hall, we have 2 new light fixtures on loan as demos from a lighting manufacturer. Please take a look at them if you are by City Hall some evening when it is dark. The fixtures are LEDs, which even though are more expensive up front, will save them money in the long run through energy consumption and associated maintenance cost. This gives us, the city, a chance to look at something in use before purchasing. The 2 fixtures are the same with the exception of the one closer to the police station entrance is dark sky compliant, and that light is directed towards the ground and does not go upward where it is needed. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up, Tony DeMarco.
These comments are not as timely as I'd like them to be, as I wasn't able to attend the last council meeting, but I want to offer my condolences first to the family of Bob Dayton, a retired Brooklyn police officer who served our community. I went to high school with his daughters and played in the band with them. I would also like to offer my personal condolences to the Chesar family on the passing of Brooklyn Safety Director, Mr. Ed Chesar. From the first time I met Ed, I knew the type of person that he was and how lucky Brooklyn was to have his experience leadership as our safety director. Together with our fire chief, we worked extremely hard to ensure that we have the best safety forces in the county and our community is a better place as a result of these efforts. And for that, I am thankful to Ed, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Next up, Kathy Pucci.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Mr. Hopkins and Mr. Singer for being here this evening, and I'd also like to welcome Mr. Mark Lakoff as our new superintendent. I think it's wonderful that he already has a history here in our community, which I think will give him an advantage as he starts his new position. I wish him nothing but the best and look forward to getting to know him a little better. Safe Routes to School Committee met Wednesday, April 15th at 7:30 at Brookridge. The primary focus of the meeting was to finalize the details for the bike rodeo, which has been previously mentioned, Saturday, May 9th, 9 to 11 at Ridge Park Square. This is really a lot of fun. The kids have a ball, so if there are any children in your life, please bring them up to Ridge Park Square. LA Fitness is offering a free 2-week pass for the school staff who volunteer their time for the bike rodeo that morning, and we really appreciate that. We discussed the reinstatement of the walking school bus and the possibility of safe houses for children who are walking to school. Sergeant Eschweiler will guide us as to whether or not we can pursue this. We will also be developing new walking routes for the next school year based on the elimination of Brookridge and everyone coming together on one campus. The Brooklyn Community Improvement Corporation had a meeting last Thursday, April 23rd at 7 o'clock here at City Hall. There's an entity that may be interested in purchasing one of our properties. Because this is dealing with the sale of public land, we will be discussing it in executive session later this evening. Beautify Brooklyn, the first phase of this initiative, which is Clean Sweep, starts this week. Saturday, May 2nd, from 9 to 12 noon, in the rec center parking lot, we will have free and secure document shredding for residents. Simple Recycling will also be on hand to collect clothing, fabrics, and textiles and small household goods for donation, reuse, or recycling. For 2 Saturdays in May, this Saturday, May 2nd and May 16th, from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, our service garage will be open to accept whether you have a large amount of materials to drop off or hazardous waste and computer electronics recycling. There is more detailed information about this on the city website, or if you have any questions, you can call City Hall at 216-351-2133. We also are promoting Pitch the Pills, which is to safely dispose of expired or unwanted medications in the secure drug collection box that is located in the lobby of the police department. You don't have to do it on that particular day. This is available 24 hours a day. We are also having student volunteers on Saturday, May 2nd, to assist senior citizens who need help in cleaning up their yards. Please call the Senior Center at 216-635-4222 to sign up. We do have a limited number of students, so please sign up early. And just a little disclaimer that these services are for Brooklyn residents only, not for any businesses, churches, or schools. I would like to thank everyone who spoke this evening. Regarding the speeding, I'm sure the chief is going to give special attention to your street, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. And Mr. Changary is absolutely correct that you would not lose the entire homestead exemption. However, let me back up. Homestead exemption, you wouldn't lose the rollback from the state, which is the 12.5%. However, for each levy that is not renewed, you would lose the 12.5% of that amount that is now currently paid by the state. And finally, I too would like to encourage everyone to please come out and vote. If you haven't voted by mail, please come out on May 5th. The polls are open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And it's very important for our community that we pass this renewal. Thank you. That completes my report.
Thank you. Next up, Mary Belbeer.
Thank you. I too would like to wish a nice, warm, and friendly welcome to our superintendent, Mark Wyckoff. With all the exciting things that are happening in our city, a new school, new track, I'm keeping my fingers crossed with our new superintendent. Maybe Brooklyn Schools will win a Blue Ribbon Award this year or next year, but I'm keeping them crossed. On another note, this past weekend I had a great opportunity to partake in a function right here next door to St. Elias. They were celebrating 110 years, the church. I've never experienced anything so vibrant and so much fun. I went there to celebrate. I met the pastor, Father Naeem, and the people were there were so wonderful. And I really think it's important to recognize and support our local institutions in our city. It's so important. It's easy to say, oh, you're not going to, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. But that's so important. They were so honored to have someone from Brooklyn attending one of their affairs. I'd just like to throw out May 16th, it's a Saturday, from 9 to 2, the Brooklyn Senior Center will be having a garage sale. If you wish to bring some of your things to sell, cleaning out the attics, the garage, the tables will be sold for $20 a table. You can bring all your items and see what happens. Maybe you'll make a few dollars here and there. You may have wanted to throw the things out, but see if you can sell them. So that's May 16th, Saturday, 9 to 2 at the Brooklyn Senior Center right across the way here. Lastly, I'd like to mention that we're so lucky in our city to have such a wonderful historical society. Miss Steppick, who basically runs it, she is like the keeper, the keeper of our past and our present here in Brooklyn. And they're going to be having a meeting this Wednesday, April 29th at 7 in the evening. They're going to have a guest speaker. They always have great speakers. I've been to a few of the meetings, and they're just interesting speakers. They're going to have an author by the name of Ralph Fenstein, and he's going to be talking about the West Park area. So if anyone's interested, maybe you've lived in the West Park before you moved to Brooklyn, you may want to stop by and hear the speaker. So that would be this Wednesday, April 29th at 7 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I've had a number of complaints about the size of the street signs that were installed on Ridge Road. I spoke to the police chief and the service directors, and these signs are going to remain for now. They're up to code, and the city did not request the signs be a little bit larger in our original contract, so we're stuck with them for now. I just hope in the future on the main streets we possibly look at larger signs. I mean, if you're going down Ridge Road, it's hard to slow down to look at those particular signs, so when replacing the signs on larger streets, I just hope that we look at the bigger signs in the future. I'd like to thank Mrs. Pucci for the very detailed report about the exchange with Hugo Boss. I think a lot of times we miss the fact that, you know, there are certain things that are outside of our control, and it doesn't really necessarily reflect well on the hard work of the mayor and the economic development director and the committee. Even though they work their hardest to try to make deals happen, sometimes there are factors that we don't have control of, and so thank you for that detailed report. And that is it, and up to the mayor's report.
Thank you. The sewer break that was on Memphis Avenue was fixed on Friday, so they won't be blocking Memphis anymore. If you're interested in seeing the middle school, one last time, there will be a walkthrough on April 29th, that's this Wednesday, from 5 to 9 p.m. And Brookridge will have a walkthrough on May 16th from 3 to 5 p.m. And last meeting, I didn't mention about the levy, I forgot. But it doesn't make sense to build a new school for $15 or $20 million and then don't pass the levy to keep it going. So I hope everybody turns out to pass the renewal levy. We have a Brooklyn Community Improvement Corporation. It's called the CIC. And the purpose of that committee is to handle all the property that the city owns, either if we're going to sell it or hold on to it or whatever. Like Mrs. Pucci mentioned, we were approached by the sewer district. And if you remember a couple meetings ago, I mentioned about the sewer district, to meet their EPA guidelines, they're building these gigantic tunnels. The one on the east side is almost done, then they're going to start one on the west side. And the purpose of these tunnels is when there's a heavy rainfall and the sewers overflow, they've been dumping raw sewage and everything into Lake Erie. Well, they have to stop that. So the purpose of these tunnels is all this excess water will go into these tunnels and they'll hold it till the storm's over and the water levels go down, and then they'll be able to treat it and then pump it back into Lake Erie so it's clean. So the one they're going to build on the west side is going to start in the western suburb, the western part of Cleveland. Then it's going to follow I-71 just for a little bit, and it's going to go through Lindale. Then it's going to come all the way through Brooklyn, following Memphis Avenue. And then when it reaches Ridge Road, it goes back into Cleveland. So they were here and we asked them a lot of questions. And it's going to be gigantic. First of all, it's going to be 210 feet deep, which is huge. That goes into solid rock. So I've seen pictures of the drill bit they use. It's like an 18 or 20 foot in circumference, and it drills through the rock. So one of our questions was, when they do this, isn't the buildings above it down Memphis, won't they feel vibration? And they told us no, because it's so deep you won't feel anything. So they only had a couple of complaints on the east side. That's because they had to come up shallower than the 200 feet. But they want to buy our property at Ridge and Memphis, and the reason they came to us now is because they saw that it was for sale, and before we sell it and a building might go up there, they're going to make us an offer now. Well, they made us an offer. And the reason they want a tunnel there, they're going to dig down. And the reason they have to come down there is because the sewers that run through Ridge Road, some of them might dump directly into this tunnel, which will help Brooklyn, but they need this property. So we're going to go in executive session tonight, and we'll explain to council what they've offered us. And they're very explicit. They make an offer to us. If we don't like the offer, we can make a counter offer. If we can't come to a conclusion, we can end up going to court, and then they'll take it under eminent domain. So we got some work to do. But this is so far in the future, though. The construction's not even going to start till 2025, and it's not going to be completed until 2035. So this isn't going to happen quickly. They just want to get this property while it's still for sale and there's no buildings on it, and we'll discuss it in an executive session. Our new van has been delivered at the senior center. I checked it out today. It's beautiful. It's nice and wide, and it's going to be a good addition to the city. And that's all I have.
Moving on to director's reports, Recreation Manager Maria McGinty.
Good evening. The Brooklyn Recreation Department will be registering boys and girls ages 3 to 8 years of age for soccer starting May 1st. The cost is $55. For more information on that program, please call 216-351-5334. Brooklyn Soccer Club will also be registering children ages 9 through 14. Please note that is a different program that is run through the Brooklyn Soccer Club. For more information on that, please call 216-406-3287. That concludes my report.
Next up, Finance Director Dan Enovich.
Thank you, Council President Gallagher. As of today, the city's received $5,842,017.47 in revenues, and we've spent $6,148,069.11 from our general fund. This includes transfers that council's approved, transfers that went to our pension funds, our capital fund, and our bond retirement funds of $1,005,000. Our unexpended general fund balance as of today is $9,758,307.33. The total balance of all funds is $24,517,973.08. I'd like to take a moment and recognize the fine work that Joanne Haig, Cindy Simcoe, and Celeste Westfall did during the recent tax season. As you may or may not know, the city will prepare your municipal income tax through RITA. If you just stop in here in City Hall, bring your documents, your W-2. You don't need an appointment, you just show up. And it was amazing that during the day, especially during a busy tax season, we've had several people show up to have their taxes done. And I was very impressed by the way our team performed. So when a resident came in, they didn't have an appointment, and these people are busy reconciling bank accounts, paying bills, making sure the payroll's done, and they would stop what they were doing and very graciously and politely greet the people, and any one of the three, their offices right down the hall, would then stop and sit down and maybe take 15 or 20 minutes to very courteously and accurately prepare their tax return. So I just wanted to acknowledge the great job that this team did over the past season. And as a note, make mention that anyone's welcome to come into City Hall and have their municipal tax forms prepared for them by our finance department. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Before we move on to legislation, just remind everyone, as Mrs. Pucci said, we're going to go into executive session for the potential acquisition of public land. We will not have any further discussion about it when we reconvene. First up tonight is a change order request for the handicap ramp project for $3,920.40.
Move to approve.
Second.
To approve, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Next up, we have a bid approval for a fire alarm system in the service garage from Paladine for $21,036.
Move to approve.
Second.
To approve, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Next, we have a bid approval for the 2015 CAP construction project for the landfill. This is for Independence Excavating for $1,658,235.
Move to approve.
Second.
To approve, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Ordinance 2015-25 establishing Parma community partner rates at the John M. Coyne Recreation Center and Auditorium.
Introduced by all to suspend the rules. Second.
To suspend the rules, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
To adopt, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer.
Yes.
Ordinance 2015-26 authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement to establish Consolidated Communication Center in Parma, Ohio. This is on second reading. Ordinance 2015-27, amending Chapter 851, garbage collection, recycling of the codified ordinances of the City of Brooklyn. This is on second reading. Ordinance 2015-28, providing for the issuance and sale of $413,504 in notes in anticipation of the issuance of bond to pay costs of improvement to city buildings, including parking, therefore, and declaring an emergency. This is on second reading.
Excuse me, may I be recognized?
Yes.
Do we have to read the fiscal officer's certificate?
Probably one time, so. Ordinance 2015-29, providing for the issuance and sale of $466,496 in notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay costs of resurfacing certain city streets to be approved by City Council together with all work incidental thereto and declaring an emergency. This is on second reading. Ordinance 2015-31, amending Exhibit A of Ordinance 2006-15, titled Providing for the Compensation for Full-Time Administrative Employees Non-Bargaining Agreement of the City of Brooklyn, Ohio. This is on second reading. Ordinance 2015-32, authorizing the purchase and installation of ancillary equipment to the Pierce 1500 GPM Custom Rescue Pumper.
Introduced by all, suspend the rules. Second.
Should we read the amount, the total? The $67,679.30.
To suspend the rules, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
No.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
To adopt, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.
Okay.
May I be recognized? I just want to explain that because there's a 3 to 7 week lag time on the equipment, and because our engine is going to be here the end of May, that's why we passed it by emergency measure this evening. Thanks.
Okay, can I have a motion to go into executive session for the possible?
I move that we go into executive session for the potential sale of property with the mayor, the law director, and the finance director.
Second.
To adjourn to executive session, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Mary Belbeer.
Yes.